Hello, welcome back to Math 152. We're going to talk this time with section 1.2. We're going to talk about types of data. Last time we talked about getting the data. Some ways that we talked about were sampling, doing a random sample, stratified sample, a cluster sample. Now we're going to just talk about that data that we have gotten. Information collected from a sample is called a data. Plural, that's the data that was pulled in. The characteristics of the individuals about which we collect information are called variables. And this is what we're going to talk about in this section. How can we classify them? That classification is basically going to let us know what we can do with them and if it's meaningful to do operations on them. Qualitative variables are categorical. They are basically descriptions, the name of your favorite song, the color you like, your favorite actors. All of those are qualitative variables. They are just descriptions of stuff. The other big classification is quantitative variables, and they are numerical data. In many cases, they're measurements, and we can do add to data points, datum. We can count up how many times we've got these things. So those are quantitative variables. The seating capacity of an auditorium would be a quantitative variable. We can count it. There's two types of qualitative variables. They're ordinal variables, and ordinals are qualitative variables whose categories have a natural ordering. So the winners of the gold, silver, bronze medal in an Olympic swimming competition. Top 10 songs of the week would have an ordering. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so forth. Nominal variables are qualitative variables whose categories have no natural ordering. Just the names of the street and the town, colors that we could pick out. So we can't really order them as such. If we talk about quantitative variables, we want to talk about two types. Discrete variables, and discretes are quantitative. Those are numerical, whose values may be listed. And when I say listed, it is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. The number of stories in an apartment building, the number of records sold in a week. So those are discrete variables. They're only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or basically that type. If I'm talking about a continuous variable, then I really can't list all the numerical values that they obtain. Consider the weight. I can take a weight at, if you take an average person going 170 pounds, is it 170, 170.1, 170.11, 170.111? I keep dividing that up, and it's basically only limited by either what my calculator, the number of significant digits that it's going to give me, or basically the resolution of the scale that we're talking about. The amount of water used by a household in a given month could be anything from 0, upwards several hundred gallons, and it could be anything in between. So things that anytime you're going to talk about volume, mass, weights, they're going to be continuous variables. In quantitative, there's a couple of further classifications that we need to talk about. Interval level variables, when we talk about interval level, they do not have a meaningful zero. So it's just kind of, it's just like any other number. Zero is just like any other number, and it is just randomly assigned. So if I'm talking about the temperature scale, you say, well, 0, there is a 0. But it all depends on which scale I'm using. If I'm using Fahrenheit, then 32 degrees is freezing. If I'm talking Celsius, then we're down at 0. Okay, so that assignment is from us. Ratio level variables, though, have a meaningful 0. Weight is a very good example of it. 0, there is no weight. Okay, and then it goes up from there. When I'm talking about 0, it is nothing. So when you consider 0 as nothing, that is what we're talking about as a ratio level variable. Okay, so that finishes up basically some of the definitions and terms that we use in, as we go along, and that'll finish us up for lecture 1.2. See you next time.